Hi everybody, welcome back. I'm the Strategy Professor, and today we're going to be talking about Sion support. I'm going to be doing a coaching session, so special thanks to Cesar for the generous donation, also known as Dawn Razor. I really appreciate it. So, as far as the runes go for Sion, I recommend Comet, Mana Flow Band, Celerity, Scorch, and then Bone Plating and Second Wind as the secondaries. This has been the standard for Sion for quite some time, and the reason is he's able to slow people very often with his E, and that guarantees that you're going to be hitting those Comet procs. Mana Flow Band, you don't really want to be buying a bunch of mana items. As Sion, he doesn't have a ton of mana problems, but this does help him out a little bit so that he doesn't have to buy any mana items. Celerity, movement speed's very nice for Sion, helps him rotate around, just be where he wants to be, because he doesn't have a lot of movement speed enhancement other than his ult. And then Scorch kind of fits the same theme as Comet in that it's early game pressure. That's really what Sion is supposed to do, is push the lane, create a lot of pressure early on with his really good wave clear off of maxing his E. So you want to max E, push the wave, try to push it into the enemy, if possible, trigger those Comets, trigger those Scorches, and that's just kind of what he does. He's a very early game, high pressure support. He doesn't have a ton of all-in threat pre-6, maybe a little bit. It depends on who you pair him with in lane. I think you're paired with a Twitch this time, from what I remember looking down there, and that's not a very high pressure lane, so in terms of like high kill threat lane. So you just want to be pushing them under the tower as much as possible and then backing up so you don't get caught. And then this, in theory, should be able to relieve pressure from the other lanes because the jungler is going to probably come down and try to gank you because you're pushed up all the time. Like, that's kind of what you want as Sion. You want to be able to push people in and just generate threat in that way. Because he does, I mean, the E is very, very good wave clear. It's like 45 mana or something level 1, and it does like the same amount of damage to everything that's hit. It's very, very good in terms of like early game pressure. As far as build order, you want to get Eye of the Equinox, Banner of Command, and then Knight's Vow. Similar theme. You want Eye of the Equinox because you're a tank support, so that kind of goes without saying. One thing that kind of sucks is about Equinox is you have to level it up all the way to tier 3 to get the CDR, get that 10% cooldown reduction, which he really wants. You don't get it at tier 2. Every other support type gets it at tier 2. So the Nomad's Medallion gives you 10% at tier 2, and the Frostbane gives you 10% CDR at tier 2. Equinox is the only one that doesn't. And just being honest with you, they have nerfed tanks a lot in the last few patches. So I think Dawn Razor, I know he played a lot. I believe it was last fall. He was a great supporter of the channel, and I think, I may be wrong with this, but I think maybe he took a break for a little while, from what I understood from the email, and it sounds like he might be getting back into it. So Sion is cool, you know, he can still win, just, if you haven't been here in a few patches, the tanks have been nerfed quite a bit in terms of, Eye of the Equinox got nerfed a few patches ago, Locket just got nerfed, a lot of the tank runes just got nerfed, so he is viable, but just being honest with you, tank supports are definitely in a rougher state right now than they were a few patches ago. But Sion is one of the better tanks just because he has such great push power early on. So you don't need to be that have that much survivability if you just don't fight him, right? If you just push him into the tower. And then Banner of Command also fits that same bill. You just want to be pushing as much as you can. And the Knight's Vow is one of the least nerfed items in a long time that still gives you good amount of survivability and gives good utility to your team. Then you want to max E, then W, and then Q. And sort of in the mid game, you can push side lanes pretty easily with your E plus your Q, especially if you drop the banner. So, and then you can rotate back to your team with an ult if you have to. Now, it looks like you took Inspiration, Mana, the Spellbook, Unsealed Spellbook in this game. I would highly recommend against that. Pretty much everybody on pro builds is going to be going Comet on Sion because, like I explained, it's so good in terms of you have this repeatable ability that you can do it over and over and over again with your E, and it's going to guarantee that you land those hits. So pretty much every single person, I mean, there's going to be like that one con is going to go for Glacial Augment here. You know, there's a couple of Glacial Augments, but for the most part, it's almost all Comet. Now, it is worth noting that there's nobody playing him as support. on pro builds, every single person that this has data for is playing him in the top lane still. So, you know, there's not a lot of data for support at a top level here in terms of the runes they're picking. But by and large, it's going to be Comet. And then in the Resolve tree, it's going to be, you know... Well, they're going Transcendence. You can go Transcendence instead of Celerity if you want to. It does give you 10% extra CDR. And that does kind of make sense because it's going to be hard for you to get CDR. Because you're going to have to buy that tier 3 Equinox. And that is, you know, an additional however much gold, 1,000 gold that you could be spending on something else. So you're going to be behind on CDR. So maybe that's worth it. I would also, I mean, it depends on the lane, but I would also potentially go for, instead of Chrysalis here, second wind, because that's going to give you more sustain over time. Chrysalis is really for all-in lanes. You know, if you're against someone who's going to maybe try to all-in you, like a Leona. I mean, you do have a Blitz. You are facing off against a Blitzcrank this game, I think, so maybe this would be a good Chrysalis game. So it's kind of up to you. The extra AD or ability power is not going to matter as much on Sion. His ratios aren't amazing. You're not really picking him for the damage, but you know, the extra 60 health does add up early on if you get blitz hooked. But yeah, this is the basic gist of what most people are gonna go. The reason that people don't go Spellbook anymore is because some people did get Spellbook on him back in the day, but it got a really big nerf. It's only 15% now instead of 25%. And then the other reason that people would go Spellbook is because you could pair that with the Stopwatch and Magical Footwear. And they nerfed both of those as well. So Magical Footwear, I believe, lost the free 50 gold that you used to get on it. Or 50 gold discount on the upgraded boots. And then they've done a lot of nerfs to Stopwatch. It doesn't come online until 10 minutes now. It sells for virtually nothing. You're not going to be turning it into anything, most likely. And just a bunch of other nerfs with it. So I just feel like Inspiration is not worth it as much anymore. I mean, you could try this Glacial Augment type of thing. I haven't really seen that in action. I mean, Khan is obviously an amazing player, so I'm sure he has his reasons why he picks that. But I think the most conventional build in most situations is just going to be push, pressure early, take Comet to help you with that pressure. Okay. Let's go ahead and get in here, though. Oops. Start watching this. We'll take some notes. And then we'll recap at the end. So we are on blue side. Okay, there we go.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift. 30 seconds until minions spawn.
Notebook set up here. Okay.
Minions have spawned.
Oh, Minion Dematerializer. Yeah, I don't really think you need that. I assume that you probably got this build. If you've been out for a little bit, you may have gotten this off of like an old guide from some website. This was a standard, like, for pro play, probably 2 or 3 patches ago. The reason people would go Materializer was to counter Banner of Command minions before they nerfed Banner of Command's interaction with Baron, because it used to get way bigger buffs, and so this is how pro players adapted to that. And this was also pre-inspiration nerfs, I'm pretty sure. So I mean, that's interesting. I forgot what you're giving up to get that. I think you're giving up. Okay, Boots and Stopwatch are in the same tree, so if you're going Inspiration, you're not giving up Cosmic. Are you? Maybe you're giving up Cosmic Insight to do that.
Blood.
I would rather have Cosmic Insight. I can't remember what's competing for that third tree. I mean, it's okay. Like, it does give you bigger push, so... I mean, I guess if you're committed to going Inspiration anyways, it's not that bad, 'cause it does double down on your push power, so... It's not the worst thing in the world, it's just the reason that you saw it for a hot minute there was primarily to counter banner minions late game, and the support runes mattered the least, really. Well, that was the thought. In pro play, supports were a little more flexible in their rune choices, some of these tank supports, because they're just there for, like, their crowd control. Okay. You're gonna have to flash this. Probably. Okay, maybe not. Okay, good. So somebody had to have the materializers to stall out later in the game. Anyways, okay, well done. Yeah, he might be in this bush. It is pushing towards you, so no big deal. Like, you might miss 1 or 2 minions, but it's not worth risking dying. Like, you know 100% Blitz is standing right there, right? I mean, we don't know if Zen's there. There's probably a 90% chance that Zen is there, but you know 100% Blitz is standing there. So it's really not worth it to use your flash just to get 1 or 2 minions. Because as you can see, if it's stacked up like this pushing towards you, like, it looks like there's a lot of minions and you're going to be missing a lot, but if you really look at it, it's not that much. Yeah, you're probably dead here. Maybe? If he uses... Okay, his heal's down. So you see, it is pushing towards you. You still have a huge stack of minions. Like, it's not a big deal. Just... as long as it's pushing towards you. If you have more minions than them, if it's pushing towards them, that's really bad. But... that's rare. Most people don't manage a wave properly and they're going to push it towards you if they're trying to zone and freeze. Yeah, so y'all should have just backed up to where you had vision in this bush, and then once it got to like right here, you could maybe think about coming out to try to get some CS. Okay, so you know this guy's camping bottom, so you got to play around that now. You can't go out there. Be very careful. If you get hooked, you're dead. Yeah. I probably would have just backed there. Just let Twitch do his thing. He still has like 50% health. There's not much you can do other than just sit there and watch, you know, at that point. And you're so scared you can't really put any major threat on him.
It's me.
Alright, what'd you get? Okay. Tier 2 ward item is fine. So y'all aren't even really that far behind. Like, I know it feels kind of desperate because you got camped so much, but really, because it was pushing towards you, this Jinx is missing on a wide open CS, you know. As long as Twitch doesn't get hooked right here, yeah, you need to stand next to him and block that hook. You know, it's not like Code Red or anything, you know, you're not down like 20 CS, so it's fine. Which is pretty good, considering you were camped so much. But it would have been better if you didn't die. You know. But yeah, just keep... I know it can feel desperate sometimes. You know, when you've been camped. You know, Jungler's been down here 3 times, and it feels like you're just really far behind. But, you know, it's fine. Just gotta play it a little safe. You know, if you back there, yeah, Twitch maybe misses an extra few CS they can zone him out of. But they're pushing it in a tower anyways. And, you know, he's Twitch. He'll be fine. Even if he's down a little bit of CS in the mid to late game, he just has so much raw power that it's okay. And Jax is rocking and rolling top lane, so, you know, you don't have to do anything heroic down here. Alright, yeah, you're gonna have to... I guess backing up's fine. I don't know what you can buy. Rejuve bead, maybe? Ruby crystal if you can afford it, but probably just Rejuve bead. Okay, you got Ruby. It's fine. Now, that did kind of put a hamper in your style here because, you know, Sion really wants to push and pressure early like we talked about, but because they're ahead now, they're not really that far ahead though. They're up like a dagger. So it's not a huge deal. But because you got camped so much. Nice, there you go. Okay, good. Cancel an auto there. Oh. Nice, there we go. Nice, good job. Don't know where Zen is. Y'all could probably 2v1 in. Zach's in the air. Okay, Zen's right here. We just saw him. Oh, we don't know where mid lane is. Okay, good. Yeah, it's really tempting to want to go for that dragon, but mid's still missing, and Jack's missing. Bliss is running around in the area, so that's probably a good call not to do the dragon there. Oh, that is tempting to try it. I mean, one nice thing about Spellbook is late game you can teleport, so that does let you transition into being more of a split pusher. So it's not like it's the worst rune combination you can draw up out there to still go Spellbook. It's just been nerfed a lot. You're giving up some of your early game damage, which you did convert the kills anyways here. It didn't matter, you know, you weren't able to pressure hard early because you were being camped, so Scorch would have been bad here. So in theory, you know, the way this game's playing out, then your runes are better. But I guess in all actuality, your runes are better. But in theory, I meant to say the other runes would be better in normal lanes. I mean, I guess you could... I don't think you can predict that Zen's going to camp bottom because he could just as easily try to camp Jax or Victor. Neither one of them have great escapes either, so... Okay, nice. Yeah, I think you can... I think y'all can get this tower. And mid is top lane, so you should be good to go on that front. But Zen could be... Okay, Zen's middle too. Yeah. Victor's back. He doesn't have teleport. Okay, yeah, y'all can fight him. Oh, man, he missed everything. Oh, Ari's there. Yeah, I feel like you could have committed to that more. I don't know. I feel like you kind of had to choose. Either you go in to try to help him kill the Zen, which... It's tough to say. I think you have to choose, though. Either you go in immediately to help him finish off Zen, and then you guys just kind of scare Ari away, or you just completely let him go and don't come in. I think going halfway like that, where you just come in at the very end after he's already dead, is it's probably the worst of the three options. Maybe you didn't think that backup would be there in time and they, you know, pinged you or something. My instinct is that going in immediately to help him after he pulls Zen out. I don't think Zen has that much lifesteal yet. He has a little bit from his passive, but... my instinct was you should go with that. But I don't think it's entirely wrong to just completely leave also. Wait, just pick one. Either way is fine. Okay, good. Going for banner. Okay, great rotation. That's good. Oh! Going for that flash. Yeah, not worth. Zen's in the corner. I wouldn't do this. It's just too risky. If Jinx starts killing people and starts popping off. Alright, I guess it worked out. Wow, that was a lot of damage. Holy crap. It's because he has a full Trinity, though. He stumps her in top lane. Yeah, so I'll be thinking right now, I'd be trying to play around this Jax, because he's huge. I mean, Twitch is doing alright, too. So just try to get Jax some wards, you know, and help him split push. I don't think your itemization is that flexible as Sion, though. I think you kind of priced in to go in banner. I mean, I guess after banner, in theory, you could go for something like a Zeke's to either help out Twitch or Jax, but your ult's on kind of a long cooldown. But with them being this fed, I would probably still go Knight's Vow. I mean, you can always put the Vow on either Twitch or Jinx. Twitch or Jax. It's gonna be Jays. You're getting a rift and a tier 1 or a tier 2. You're not going to get there in time to stop Jinx. No. So you might as well... Well, you had to stop him middle or they would have gotten even more towers. I would not walk in here. I wouldn't do it. There's gonna be like 4 people in here potentially. Yeah, there's just no reason. Like y'all know they're gonna be there. At least Zen and one other person are still gonna be there. I would wait until you see people show up in the other lanes. Yeah, I mean, at the most, you could ward here. That's all I would do, is like maybe ward here. Even warding here is dangerous because you know they're all in here running around. There's no objectives in here, like their red wasn't even up. They already have the tier 2. Just let them have it. I would just ward this and maybe this, and then just make sure Blitz doesn't like hook you over a wall or something. And then just push up these 2 lanes until someone shows up in these 2 places. There's not a dragon or anything. There's just no reason to take that risk. Okay, probably go in Knight's Vow next, I assume. Which is fine. Yeah, I would try to do a 1-3-1 with this Jack. So whichever lane he's not in, you could go push the other lane. And I would switch over to teleport. You push the lane so quickly and just force someone to come deal with you. You can always like ult and get out of there if you have to, or you can potentially even rotate to a fight. Watch out for this wall. Yeah, leave him alone, leave him alone. It's fine. Just go get Infernal, go get Infernal. Only one person died. I would get Infernal, get Infernal. I think Victor's gonna... Or I guess they don't... I feel like they're just gonna wave clear this by the time you get up there. I mean, I guess you can do both, because why not? But... Okay. I guess that's fine. You got a lot of damage on it. Yeah, I would switch over to TP for sure and try to split push. He's just so good at it. The exhaust is fine for you know, Irelia and Zen, but I guess they're kind of coming online. I just would put more pressure on the side lanes. They don't have a really good roamer or like a good splitter outside of Irelia. I guess Zen could come get you if he wanted to, but like if you have good warding, you should be able to get away from him. So I just wrote down, just be careful when you're warding hotspots and just be patient if the wave is pushing towards you if you're in a bad position in a lane. Those are kind of the two biggest things so far, I think, that could help you out. But yeah, I mean, as far as like the team fighting and everything else is going, that's great. Yeah, you can't match her, you gotta leave. Jax has to go deal with her. You need to be in the empty lane. Don't run into that. They're dead. Oh, that's real bad. Yeah, it's gonna be multiple towers. If Jax didn't get caught there, you could maybe... I don't know. Victor does have good wave clear, but Ari's probably gonna get it. Okay, so don't. Do you have flash? Okay, good. Keep running, give this up. You can maybe hold the inhibitor. Yeah, if you had TP there, you may have been able to TP down to help that fight. Nice, good slow, good slow. It's awkward. Ward over this wall if you can. Uh-oh. It's an uh-oh SpaghettiOs right there. Yeah, Irelia. Okay, good. Push. Everybody's, well, Zen's not dead. Okay, he's bottom. You have your banner down. I would have dropped banner somewhere. I'm not sure if you want to fight him one-on-one here. Be very careful. I mean, he's not building that much damage, I suppose, but... There you go. You want to put the banner on the opposite side as Jax, though. So ideally, where you want to be is like Jax is going to push bottom. You need to be pushing top around Baron and using your banner up there, or using it middle to create pressure. It's just not really accomplishing as much here because Jax is already going to push this. Randuin's. I'm not a huge fan of Randuin's here. I think you need to be buying all like tank items that empower other people on your team. Randuin's is a pretty selfish item. It does, you can slow people down with it, so that is nice. Righteous Glory is another option that people will get on Sion support sometimes. It does allow you to run in and engage on people. Without using your ult. But I still think the best style of play would be a 1-3-1 split. Twitch is very good at picking people off when that happens too, in theory. Okay. Dragon. Baron. How healthy? Everybody's healthy. I'd go Baron right here. You see Ahri bottom, just let her go. Twitch is gonna open on her and die, potentially. Yeah, I think y'all should have done Baron. It is a long ways away from where you were. Either Baron or Dragon. I think that chasing Ahri is the wrong answer, though, for sure. And you're gonna be too slow to get this. I think you should have, once you killed Zen, you should have immediately run Baron. Because you saw Ahri on the bot side. So she's out of the picture. She doesn't have teleport. I think everyone else is dead, so... With Twitch and Jax, y'all should have been able to shred that Baron pretty quickly. You gotta remember, when they spawn, like, you probably would have gotten there around their spawn time. And they may have been down for an extra couple of seconds, but it probably would have taken you about 20 seconds to walk over there. But it's gonna take them, you know... about 20 seconds to run down to Baron, so you'll have 20 seconds to beat on it. I think you guys could probably do it in like 10 seconds with Jax and Twitch. I think Zach does some percentage damage too. He's not like a huge Baron shredder, but it's pretty dangerous. Y'all don't have Victor. Victor's a big deal on your team. He doesn't have teleport, so... okay, Zen's over here. I was about to say, I'm a little scared of Baron, but... 3 people bot. I mean, you did see Zen. Like, the only reason this is okay is because we saw Zen. If you didn't see Zen here, then you can't ever send 3 people bot when Baron's up like that. Now, they just cleared middle, and Zen was walking this way, so he could very easily be running Baron. You see the red pings on it, too, because they're going for it. You can't be down here pushing without teleport. Your ult's almost up. I think they're going to get Baron off of that. So Zen was over here, but y'all saw him rotating. And you still had 3 bot. Yeah, that was pretty bad macro. Team effort, not just you, of course. But yeah, you had 3 people that went bottom. And that might have been okay for a moment, you know, since you saw Zen, but as soon as you see Zen walking that way on that ward, you gotta all rotate over there immediately. And they're gonna have the positional advantage at that point too, because you don't have any wards here. And so, you know, it's dangerous to face check pushes. Yeah, if you kind of want that cold steel effect with Sion, if you want to slow people down, I think Frozen Heart would be even better than Randuin's. It doesn't have the health on it, which is an issue, but it would give sort of that team-wide aura. It slows everybody's attack speed down, not just the people that are hitting you, because a lot of people are going to try not to hit you. And it gives you the 20% CDR, which is really nice. It gives you a lot more armor. Like, it doesn't have health on it, but it has 40 more armor. It's not an exact conversion. Like, 400 health is worth like 1,000 gold, and 40 armor. Actually, 40 armor is worth 1,200 gold. So it does give you the same, about the same level of defense as, at least in terms of gold efficiency, as something like a Frozen Heart. It's not as good against magic damage, but you know, most of their team is physical. I assume he's dead. Yeah. Twitch is getting pretty massive, right? 8-5. I might consider it Zeke's for Twitch. Not a huge fan of Portal here. It's okay, but it's not the worst item in the world. The problem is you don't get point runner benefit off of that. And you're not really, like, equipped to split that deep. You know, with Banner, you've got to run. She can kill you, I think. There could be more people coming, too. I would just back up. Just wait on her to clear that. You know, Banner splits. You can put the Banner in your base, and it's going to help with split pressure. With ZZ Rock Portal, it really has to be, like, right on top of the tower to help pressure the tower. So it's much, much shorter range. And because you're already committed to 1 point runner, you don't get any more benefit out of that. And I just don't think you can be here without teleport. I think they might get caught and killed here. Yeah, I would like to see either a Knight's Vow. I think Shirelia's wouldn't actually be like completely awful here for this style of play. You don't get a lot of benefit out of the AP. It would make you a little squishier, so it's questionable. But it would allow you to. It would give your team some more utility, and it would allow you to run away if you want to split. Y'all seem to be winning Queen 5s, though. Queen 5 on 5, so I'd probably just go Knight's Vow and just stick that on either Twitch or Jax. Yeah, push tower. No. Inhibitor, inhibitor, inhibitor. It's just Ahri for 15 seconds. Oh, and Blitz, but whatever. Okay, this is a time when ZZ Rod is actually good. You just have open siege here. They're all up. Yeah, I think y'all gotta run. Yeah, just get out of there. Now go get Dragon. Looks like Victor's doing it anyways. If Victor was with you, does he have Lich Bane? Yeah, if Victor was with you, y'all probably could have had Inhibitor. You could have taken that tower faster and then popped the Lich Bane, or popped the Inhibitor a lot faster too. So, if Victor was with you, then you could have had tower Inhibitor, and then you could have gotten Dragon on the way back anyways. So, he kind of cost you an Inhibitor there, but not a lot you could do about that. Now, Baron's going to be up soon, so y'all really don't want to die here. Okay. You got this. There's 3 top. Should be good to go. Y'all probably need to back up after that. I would not get rid of your control word slot for a Spectre's Cowl. In general, you want to keep your control wards until you have like a completed big item most of the time, especially when there's a big objective coming up. Don't walk in there. You don't have enough backup yet. It's even dangerous right here because they could pull you over this wall. Please don't do it, Twitch. Okay, not bad. Just come over here, peel Twitch. You got a ton of health, man. Well, yeah, they are all dead. I guess. Let's rewind and look at that a little closer. There's a lot of stuff going on there. One thing that why am I blanking out? What's the oh, there we go. Y'all are chasing a bunch of stuff around. You don't have enough vision here. Like, y'all needed a lot more vision in this area. Alright, Jax just goes into full imp mode here. Alright, so it's a 4v5. I think y'all just really shouldn't fight this right now. I would just back to your base. I mean, Twitch does pick one of them off. Okay. Now Victor's behind. Okay, good. Trying to kill the Aurelia. Victor just gets blown up. Yeah, that's about as good as you can do it, I think. It's like, you guys need Jax a lot more than they need Zen, though. That's the issue. So, they're probably going to get Inhibitor and Baron. Yeah, just come up here and push this. And drop your ZZ, or whatever.
Blue team's inhibitor has been destroyed.
Huh. That's alright, let them know. Well, that's good. They decided to chase you instead of Baron, so that's good. You did get pressure on tower. bloody game. I definitely, like, 100% would not go Spirit Visage. There are a couple reasons for that. First reason is you don't really have a heal in your kit, so you're not going to benefit from the plus 30% healing and shielding. Really, you never want to get Spirit Visage on someone who doesn't have that, because Adaptive Helm is basically the same thing. It's very, very similar stats, but Adaptive Helm is actually good if you get hit with the same spell over and over again. So like Ari's Foxfire would be affected by this, her ult would be affected by this. But frankly, I wouldn't be that scared of Ari to begin with. I mean, she is 17 and 4, I guess, so that is legit. I might just... I still think that like a Zeke's here because Twitch is so fed. Just Zeke's, and then when the fight breaks out, just ult somebody to trigger the Zeke's on the Twitch, so he gets 50% on hit damage. That's so good, especially, I think it would trigger off of his Hurricane Bolts. Not 100% about that, but it would give him a lot of extra damage, even if it doesn't trigger off the bolts. So I would definitely go Zeke's here instead of Spirit Visage. I mean, she's just not going to do enough burst damage to you, right? You have 4,000 health, even without the Spirit Visage health. Like, she's just not... If you had 3,500 health, she's not going to kill you in one spell rotation. Through your shield and all, you know, it's just not happening. I wouldn't go Spirit Visage. I think your best option would be a Zeke's. Something like Righteous Glory is okay. I think Knight's Vow would be a very high priority right now. If you want a health item, I think Knight's Vow would be better. I think Jinx is going to end up doing a lot more damage than Ahri does in these fights. And Zen. Like, Ahri's their only magic user. So yeah, she is on the fed side, but everyone has 6 items. Jinx has 6 items too, so it really doesn't matter what the... who's fed or not. Everybody's max item. Okay, that's good. So yeah, I think that Zeke's and a Knight's Vow should be a really high priority. I would switch out Spirit Visage and either Zezrot Portal or Randuin's for those 2 items. Definitely get rid of Spirit Visage. There's an argument to be had for either Zezrot or Randuin's, but how much CDR is this? 1, 2... 30, that doesn't get any. Yeah, I think like Banner and then Frozen Heart. Wow, that would put you over the limit a little bit, but I do think that some combination of Frozen Heart, Knight's Vow, and Zezrot Portal is probably where you want to be. That is a lot of mana that you may not need, but it just gives you a lot more team fight power. Okay, nice. Good, good, good. Yeah, just push to end. Good. Yeah, let him know. Gotta hit him with those emotes. Alright, so as far as like biggest tips here for you, I think okay, so be patient in a dangerous lane if the enemy's pushing towards you. So, you know, like you knew that they were probably going to be in that bush. Like, Blitz is 100% in that bush, and there, like I said earlier, there's like a 90% chance that Zen is also in that bush, because Blitz is not showing himself. Um, and, you know, you and Twitch would have probably missed 3, maybe 4 CS max if you just waited and just let it push in, and that's fine. Like, it's not worth using your flash. Just think about this. Would it be worth it trading your flash to give Twitch, like, 3 CS? Probably not, right? That's just not enough price. You know, the CS aren't even that valuable except for the cannon minion anymore. I mean, they are, but it's basically like paying, would you accept 52 gold to, you know, take away your own flash or whatever? And it's not good if someone's like, hey man, can I put your flash on cooldown for 52 gold? It's like, no, you can't. Because I can do much more than that. I mean, if you can use your flash to save yourself, you know, that's denying the enemy, you know, at a bare minimum, 300 gold. And more probably closer to 450 if they get a kill and an assist on you. And then if they get extra pressure to kill a tower, or they might even deny CS because you're not there to back up Twitch, you know, they might zone him off of a whole wave because he might have to back early. And that would be like 6 CS. So just think about it that way, and that it's not worth the risk. It's not worth using your summoner just for a few CS. Because that's ultimately what will probably end up happening if you try to go up and ward that bush or try to go up and get that CS. So it sucks, you know, that Zen camped you that hard, like 3 or 4 times early on. But you have to deal with the cards that you're dealt, right? Okay, similarly, I'm going to say, be careful warding if it's a conflict area. So if you know there's a very high probability that enemies will be in a certain sector, don't ward for them. Like, force them, you have to force them to leave. So you have to push the lanes up and just wait on at least a couple of people to show up in those lanes. Give them time to back. They just got the tier 2 tower. There were no other threats down in the bot side jungle. There was no red buff. Even if there was a red buff, just give them the red buff. There was no dragon. You know, there's just nothing for them to do. They'd already taken the tier 1 and the tier 2. So if they just want to sit and camp a bush, that's fine. Just let them do it and just push the other lanes, put pressure until they come out and do something about it. You know, just make them come to you. Like, don't go to them. So if you're going to take Summoner cooldown, I don't know why all of a sudden it's switching the format here. If you want to take Summoner Spellbook, then I would highly recommend that you do a TP and then a split push strategy later on. That will allow you to put that 1-3-1 pressure up, which is just Jax in a side lane, you in a side lane, and the other 3 people in the middle. Although y'all were winning team fights, so I'm not sure it's entirely necessary. But I think that is a good option because you were trying to do something like that anyways. You were splitting... It's just too dangerous for your team if you split without teleport, which I saw you doing several times. Now, Sion is very good at that, like I mentioned before. If you have your ult up, you might be able to get away with that if people are sort of grouping in the middle lane within range of your ult. But just in general, you know, having the luxury of getting that teleport in the mid game gives you a lot more presence on the map. So I think if you're going to take Summoner Spellbook, that's a reason to do it right there. Okay, another thing, don't overload the bot lane, especially if Baron's alive. So that means don't send more than 1 person bot lane if Baron's ever alive. You can send the Jax down there for split pushing. Really, only if his teleport's up. If his teleport's not up, it's sketchy, but you can maybe make it happen because they probably aren't tracking his teleport timer. Yeah, definitely don't send 3 people down. That's a classic. You know, they see 3 people bot, ping Baron, and just pick it up, which is pretty much what happened. So you did see Zen bottom, in theory. He was on the map, so going down there very briefly might be okay, but once you see him on the ward, like running for Baron, you have to get up there because they can start it without him, and then he can just walk over there and just smite at the end, right? And so after you did the dragon, I would have just backed immediately and then just pushed up middle and try to get an opportunity to ward around Baron. You need the lanes up before you go ward Baron, or they could catch you out and kill you. But I think that's the higher priority than just picking up a couple of waves bottom, especially if Jax is already down there. If you have TP, maybe it's a different story, but I think you just don't want to overload any of your lanes with like split pushers. Like, you don't need 2 people in any lane other than maybe mid lane, right? Because you're just fighting over CS at that point. And the reason you just overload people middle is not for the CS, but it's just so that you have a positional advantage, so you can, you know, rotate around the map and do what you need to do and keep good ward coverage up. But yeah, like if Jax is already bottom, you don't need to be down there too. I think that Knight's Vow. So these are kind of your options, and I think the way the game was going, this would be the order that I would have bought these in. I do like rushing Banner early because it does generate a lot of extra gold for you with that extra minion that's split pushing. So, and it's just a really good bargain for the stats that you get on it too. So I definitely like the Banner. I would get Knight's Vow early. It gives you a lot of extra tankiness. It gives you CDR. It's a really aggressively priced item, so it's very good. I think it's like 2,300 gold. Might even be 2,200 gold. It gives you sustain in fights, especially if you put it on like Twitch, who's going to do a ton of area of effect damage. And of course, it gives protection to the Twitch or to the Jax as well. So I think Banner is like, or Knight's Vow is definitely what you want to get. Wait, why did I say Banner there? I meant Zeke's. To get Banner early. And Zeke's is a backup. Once Twitch starts getting really fed, you can get Zeke's. It does a lot of damage. It's like 25% extra on-hit damage. It's 50%, but that's over 2 seconds. Then it's 25 on-hit. So it's really, really good. And because you're the kind of tank that just sort of sits in the middle of the fight also, and, you know, just attacks people and just tries to, you know, be a nuisance, then you're actually going to deal quite a lot of damage off of the area of effect damage part of Zeke's as well. So let me pull it up here real quick. Yeah, so it's 2250. So it's already 102% efficient. But yeah, this extra Frostfire, this is, yeah, it makes your allies take an additional 25 on-hit damage. Yeah, and you do 40 magic damage per second. And it slows enemies for 3 seconds. And that lasts for 10 seconds, I believe. Yeah. So, you know, you could do up to 400 extra damage to, you know, everybody around you. And it applies to slow, which is really good for peeling. This is just a great item, I think, for if you have a really heavy-hitting champion who's building on-hit stuff. So someone like Twitch who's going to be getting Hurricane, basic attacks burn their target with fire damage. Okay, so that's, I don't think that's on hit then. It says their basic attacks do that, so it wouldn't interact with Hurricane, but it's still really good. It does a lot of extra damage. I'm not sure if crit also applies the 25% magic damage. I assume that it would. But Twitch would be off to the races if you put this on him, so that's really good. Frozen Heart. They've buffed a couple of times. It's not the most amazing item. The reason that I'm recommending Knight's Vow and Zeke's is because they're both about 2,200 gold, which is really nice for supports. Now, you ended up with 6 items anyways because you had a lot of kills and it was a very long game. But a lot of times you're not going to be able to end up with that many items, and you really want to go for those cheaper items. But Frozen Heart now is pretty good. It's 115% efficiency. And you get this nice aura, which lowers the attack speed. And that would be very good against Irelia. It would be very good against Zen and Jinx. So there's 3 different champions that would probably be close enough for you to affect with this. You may not get close enough to Jinx, but it's really good. And it would give you 20% CDR, which helps you get to the cap pretty quickly. If you compare this to something like Randuin's Omen, this is only 78% gold efficient. It's not really a gold efficient item at all. It's much more expensive. Well, it's not much. It's like 200 gold more expensive. But if you look at the 400 health plus 60 armor. It's giving you 2,200 gold worth of stats, pretty much. And you're getting more, even if you don't count the mana, even if you don't value it that highly. You know, just call it like 0, because I mean Sion doesn't need a ton of mana, but it does help. But even without the mana, like, you're getting almost just as much raw power out of the armor, and you're getting the 20% CDR, which is really nice. And the 15% cripple applies to everybody all the time, whereas, you know, the Randuin's only applies cold steel to people that hit you for 1 second. So only if somebody hits you, they get it. Now, yes, it does do minus 20% for critical strikes. Yes, that is good against Jinx. No one else was building crit on their team, though. So, in theory, this is okay. You know, it's all right. But I just think as a support, you know, getting more of those support-oriented items that are a bit cheaper would probably be more cost-efficient. Righteous Glory can be good on Sion, but in this particular situation, I don't think it's amazing because you don't really... I mean, you can use it to run in if you want to, but I think the way this probably should have been played was you splitting in side lanes and running away more often than you're running towards them. You can use your ult anyways to achieve a similar effect. Not the same thing, but... I think that's pretty much all I had for you. So overall, the positioning was pretty strong. Just be careful when you're warding sometimes. Just manage the wave. Just be a little more patient early on. Think carefully about your rune choices. You know, I do think that Comet Scorch overall will be better, plus Resolve is your secondary. You know, in a lane where you're going to be camped, it's not going to be as good because you can't apply that pressure, but in general, I think it's going to be your better option. Although this is okay. If you do want to go this, though, try that TP split push build out, and I think that'll help you out. And just be a little more careful on the map with your macro when Baron's up. Other than that, great job. I think pretty good. Like I said, Sion is definitely one of the better surviving tanks, just even though tanks have been nerfed a lot. He's one of the better ones, and that is a good pick into Blitzcrank because a lot of the enchanters, your Jannas, your Lulus, you know, all that kind of stuff is pretty bad into Blitz, and so Sion is, you know, a pretty respectable pick. Like Sion and Taric, and like Alistar are probably some of the best picks into Blitz. So for that lane specifically, Sion definitely goes up quite a bit in value. Okay, that's going to be it. Thank you very much. As always, I really appreciate it. Cesar, hopefully this helps you out. Let me know if you have any questions, and have a good day. I'll see you next time.